Bonjour, hello everyone. I'm Nata, host of the Nata PR School podcast. You're a successful entrepreneur or marketing manager and you're about to launch a new product or service, or you've been selling your goods for quite some time, but you want to learn how to increase your visibility, get known, and reach more clients? At Nata PR, we deal with real clients every day and we'll teach you simple, fun, and honest PR solutions. You'll learn easy steps to combine PR to social media right now. Keep listening and let's get started. Bonjour, hello, and welcome to this 68th episode of the Nata PR School podcast. Public relations, art, or science? My partner David Tremblay and I, we create almost every Friday, actually. We do some Instagram lives where we talk about something that's happening at the agency. So if you want to go and listen, there's many videos where we exchange, him and I, we talk about something that's happening at the agency. I'm going to put all the links of Instagram. We have two Instagram accounts. One is for the agency, NataPR_. The other one is for Nata PR School. But you go to the one with the agency, of course, where we, David and I, talk about what's happening. We pick one subject every Friday. Sometimes he's talking from LA, Toronto, or New York, while I'm really often from Montreal. I used to be a lot in Miami and traveling quite a bit. And of course, during the pandemic, I decided to stay more up north, especially that my old parents are around, so I can answer any emergency, as you can imagine. All this to say that I was wondering, and that was my question with him, I wanted to know what he thought about PR. If for him it was a science or an art. I already had my own mind. My mind was made up quite on 100%. To me, it was more an art than a science. But the more we talk, the more my opinion was changing. I was leaning, as I told you, to the art side of it, like the creation part of our work. That's interesting. And although I'm so rational, I'm probably more attracted by anything more scientific, but I don't know why. Why was I thinking that? For very good reasons, actually. Four main reasons. First one, to be PR has to be creative. Why? We have to create some interesting emails and press release. So we have to be creative to get the attention of journalists and influencers, for one. Two, creativity is a real advantage. Why? When it's time to create a launch, a fun launch, an interactive action, find a unique way of launching a product, a unique location. So this is also a lot of fun. My young employees love that. So that's point number two. Point number three, we've got to tell our client's story in a way that really attracts the attention of the press. So we have to be very creative when we tell their story to the media. So they are interested by the story and they decide to write about or do a TV segment on our clients for their viewers, their readers, or if it's a blogger, for their fans. So this is where we have to be creative as well. Point number three. Point number four, like artists, we do something over and over again until we master what I call the art of PR. There's a lot of repetitions we need to do. We need to write emails, hundreds of emails per day, press releases. We have to get really smart. We do a lot of researches that we repeat. We have to stay aware of what's happening in the media world. So there's this practice where we read a lot and we do researches and so on. So to me, that's really similar to a pianist that has to practice skills every day to keep his brain and his fingers ready to play. It's like any sport also. If you're an athlete and you need to, you're going to the Olympic, you have all these repetitions that you do when you train, when you're during your trainings. So while I was thinking PR was more an art, that was without listening to my partner David, who commented that he reminded me actually that we are using a lot of statistics. We rely on statistics to develop our own campaigns, which is so true. We're using measures and we evaluate our campaigns to quantify their success. So that means we're using a lot of mathematics, simple ones, of course, but this is scientific. Part of the work we're doing is really scientific. Percentages to analyze our online results, for example. And it's when we use these maths and these percentages and when we analyze in a mathematical or scientific way our results, this is how we can also improve them. So once we measure, and this is something also very human. So once you measure something, that's the best way to be able to improve it, and we do it really. And there's nothing more mathematical, right, than measuring something or analyzing something. And he also reminded me that we're using this amazing tool called MRP. That stands for Media Rating Points, for those who are familiar with that measuring tool. It's quite used in North America, more than probably in some European countries, but it's really adding all the readerships, viewership, and then, you have this massive number at the end of a campaign. And then you can really, it's close to an ad campaign. This is why I love using this, actually, Media Rating Points, MRP. I don't want to go too much in depth into this, but all this to say that we use scientific tools, right? And like any researchers, we have also created our own basic process. Reminded me, my partner David, this 6-step model, the 6-step Nata PR model that we created. This is scientific. This is really like cutting down to 6-step what we do to be able to teach our new employees and you, if you decide to register to the Nata PR School podcast, Nata PR School program. If you haven't received our Nata PR model, know that we give it to you for free. So just go online on our website, natapr.com. And of course, in exchange of your email, you see the famous little pop-up window. And if you give us your email, you'll receive it right away. So I'm giving it to you for free. Took us many years to get to this simple 6 steps, I'm telling you. And at every step in this model that we use every single day, there's creativity that comes to play, but it's also mathematics. So the first one is really creating original events, choosing unique venues, sometimes pairing various kinds of expertise. So we love to do having an expert to talk about shoes. So we will find a foot expert to talk about the shoes. We offer also creative services at the agency, of course. And to me, this is why I was leaning to art, because what we do is really close to the art of selling. PR is soft selling for me, because we have to propose. We're proposing to influencers, to journalists, a product, a story, and we hope that by the way we talk to them, the way that we are selling it to them, that they will be interested and talk about our clients. It's always very fascinating, too, to see that every member of our team who's passionate about PR works, as my partner and I are, bring their own human color to this discipline, to this art, or to this science now. Like sending out press releases, doing smart follow-up, right? So it's really interesting to see how they can create their own way of doing this. It's really an art in that sense, and a science as well. And one of the keys always to remember that the most important word in our profession is relations. Relation. Why? Because this is what humans do. We buy something we love. We buy because we have this emotion about a brand. It's the same thing. We buy from people we love. We buy from people we know. So keep that in mind. It's so important. And this is why I love our profession so much, because we're able to build these relations with so many different people. And in some sense, PR is what I call the direct connection to consumer arts, really. We're kind of this is what my partner David says, we are very similar to the art of cooking. That is also a science. He said, I really like it. experienced that with working with Thermomix, an incredible cooking device that uses the latest technologies, he says. This is true. So this is exactly when science meets cooking through Thermomix. If you don't know that device, check it out. It's really amazing. And this is what David says too. And he was reminding me, hey, Nathalie, think about music. You're a trained musician yourself, so you know that music is a science as an art, don't you think? So true. I forgot to really think sometimes about my old training as a musician, where we had to use science because, well, in French we say music is the sister of mathematics. La musique est la sœur des mathématiques. Music music is mathematics sisters. That would make more sense. And I wanted to end this podcast with our friend, with Albert Einstein, that I really love and appreciate, that giant of science. This is what he's teaching us about art and science. This is what he says. We do art when we communicate through forms whose connections are not accessible to the conscious mind. Yet, we intuitively recognize them as something meaningful. It's crazy, huh? This is why sometimes we love art so much. We can't explain it, but it speaks to our part of our brain, right? We do art when we communicate through forms whose connections are not accessible to our conscious mind. Love it. I also love what he says about imagination. Imagination, according to Einstein, is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world. I love that. And this is what David says too. For him, PR is probably a science when you start to learn about the profession. The more you fine-tune it, the more it becomes an art as you make it your own. And I agree with them. This is true. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. And if you enjoy communicating, measuring, and creating, well, public relation is for you, because this is what we do. And is PR an art of a science? Well, I'll let you make up your own mind on this topic. It's kind of a mix of both, for sure. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. As always, I want it to be a little pause in your week, marketing and PR pause, to think about what you're doing and to include PR in your marketing plan, hopefully. I'm trying to convince you. You should. If you want to know more and what I think about what you're doing, there's always a free consultation. I'm always happy to talk to you. And you have all the links there. And if you want our free model, you know where to find it at natapr.com. So hopefully that was a fun episode for you guys. And I hope you'll be joining me next week. À la semaine prochaine. Hey, you want to learn more about how to implement PR strategies? Head on to natapr.com and get on our list. You will also receive the Nata PR model on how to create a successful PR campaign. If you want to become a client, just send us an email to nata@natapr.com. Talk to you next week. À la semaine prochaine.